All right, hello, everybody. My name is Becca Eldridge. I'm the Chief Operating Officer here at Loveland. Today we're going to talk about the disability services landscape in Florida. I'm going to start sharing a screen and just want to make sure that everyone can see it. Is everyone able to see that okay?
Yes.
Awesome, thank you. So today we're going to go over very briefly the different funding sources and the different services that are available. When we get to the services section, these are all the services that APD or the Agency for Persons with Disability has funding for. And that doesn't mean that there aren't other services out there that can be from other places. When I get to the other funding sources, it'll be more, those are other ways to pay for services if you do not have access to Medicaid waiver funding. So we're also going to talk some about how services are going to be combined, and then we'll do a Q&A at the end. So we're going to start with the different funding options. The first one is the Agency for Persons with Disabilities. This is the one that people know the most. And there's something called an I-budget waiver, which is the individual budget waiver program. This means that someone is waiving their right to institutional placement to instead get home and community-based services. And they have an individual budget for them to be able to get those services with. And that is where the name I-budget waiver comes from. This is the traditional funding method in Florida. It's been around for a long time and is the way the majority of the individuals that we support get funded. The state of Florida is currently 47th in funding for individuals with disabilities. And what that does mean is that there are a lot of individuals on a wait list for quite a long time waiting to get funding. So the state's been working on a couple different ways to try to get people off that pre-enrollment list, see if they can get additional funding. And right now they are doing a managed care pilot program for anybody who is on that pre-enrollment or wait list to be able to get funding right away. This is a managed care program. It is brand new, so I can't say whether or not it is a good program or not because I don't know enough about it to say that. I do know that it is working really, really hard to get individuals off that wait list who aren't going to be able to get funding, and that if you were to choose to go on to that, again, you have to be on the wait list. If you're already on the Medicaid waiver, you're not eligible. But if you choose to go on it from the wait list, if that pilot ends, you do get into the waiver. So you're not kind of losing your spot in the waiver line if you wanted to see if it was a good fit for you. And that is starting October 1st, available statewide. Another option that a lot of people use are long-term care plans. This can frequently pay for services if somebody is, and I am going to ask that if you could please mute yourselves as well so that it's not interrupting other people's ability to hear. Thank you. But a lot of people can use their long-term care plan for housing support as well as some services. This tends to be for someone who may be in a long-term care plan. So someone who has been in a rehab situation or needing to be inpatient for a while. And is a good option for if somebody maybe wasn't diagnosed until after the age of 18, so they're not going to be eligible for APD waiver funding. And then this program, Step Up for Students, allows people under the age of 22 who have not yet graduated from high school to be able to choose a service provider, but that is not the public school system. So if they feel like the public school system isn't working for them, they can use Step Up for Students funding to come to Loveland or other programs like Loveland's. This allows, again, this has to be somebody who has deferred their diploma, that they haven't actually graduated, and then this will give them that funding through the age of 22. And then the last way that a lot of people get funding is through Social Security or Social Security disability, private pay, and trusts. We also offer scholarships. Many service providers offer scholarships, but there's a lot of the services and things that are needed might be paid for by APD, but you're still going to have to pay for like rent if it's a residential placement separately. All right, so now we're going to get into the different types of services that exist that you have to choose from as somebody who's helping an individual choose the best services for them. This first group of services are all called life skills development programs, and there are 4 of them. The important thing to remember is that you are allowed 56 hours of life skills development a week. That totals up to 8 hours a day. So we'll get through what all the different life skills developments are, but when you're looking at combining the different life skills development programs and what you're looking at, you have to make sure, even if they're with different providers, that you're not exceeding that 56 hours a week combined of all the services. So Life Skills Development 1 is a companion service. It provides non-medical care, supervision, and socialization to adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities, helps individuals access the community, and can be provided in a 1-to-1, 1-to-2, or 1-to-3 ratio, depending on the needs of the individual. The number one goal of companion services is to help an individual be a part of their community and get out in the community. Again, it's important to remember that, if you have companion on nights and weekends, that counts towards those 56 hours total of life skills development that you can have. Some of the activities you might do is go fishing, go to the grocery store, go to the doctor's office, work on any type of ability to get out into the community and to socialize. Life skills development 2 is supported employment, and this helps individuals learn skills needed to obtain and maintain competitive employment. This is employment that is a part of the community, not separated from the rest of the community. It can be general job skills such as resume building, how to interview, professional dress at work, but it can also be skills specific to that job, how to probably clean a bathroom, training support on the computer. It can be creating tools, adaptive tools that can help an individual be successful. So sometimes a job coach will help the employer with creating a visual schedule for an employee who might need it, things like that. One of the other things that support employment does is that it's a follow along through the employment. So if many people may have heard of VR services, VR is really kind of at the beginning of someone getting a job, helping them get the skills to get that job. And then that's the end of VR vocational rehabilitation. Supported employment services continue to follow along through the employment time to help make sure that individual is able to be successful in that position, working with that manager and the individual to make sure it's a good fit, helping them figure out if they're ready for the next step, if they want to try to get a promotion or a different job, all of those things. And again, this is a one-on-one for the most part, but there is a new option that allows supported employment to be done in a group setting out in the community. So that would be if a business wanted to hire a group of individuals with disabilities to all come work at the same time. The traditional supported employment has always been a one-on-one thing. So that's a new exciting thing that's come in the last couple of years, that is an option for businesses to hire a group of individuals to go into the business together as a group and get supported employment help as part of that. And then life skills development 3 is often referred to as adult day training. This is a structured day program where participants have a meaningful day and develop skills in communication, socialization, independent living, community integration. Everyone who's coming has their own goals they're working on. But again, thinking back to us talking about combining the different services, if you have an individual that's going to a day program 5 days a week, and then also getting companion, you have to make sure that we're not going over that 56 hours. Traditional programs can often be in daily living skills, community activities, academics, art activities, and socialization. And then there can be specialty programs where you're learning those same life skills, but through a specific lens, whether it's art, theater, cooking, gross motor, maybe it's a farm program. There's lots of different ways to think about making a day program very specific, and they all many exist throughout the community. And again, we're using the skills we're learning there to learn there. It's all about life skills and communication and working together as a team. It's important to note that the adult day training program does not specifically cover job skills in that program. That is a separate program called Life Skills Development 4 or pre-vocational services. This is a new thing that the state separated it out from a day program about 2 years ago. And it specifically prepares individuals for supported or competitive employment. Training is not job specific in a pre-vocational program, but that would be a good program to go to if your loved one or whoever you're supporting was wanting to learn maybe how to apply for jobs or how to have social skills that are appropriate at the workplace, how to appropriately dress for work. Many pre-vocational programs might have like a dress code for when you come to work on those skills, things like that. But participants can have paid or unpaid internships as part of this program as well. This program is time limited, so someone can only ever be in a pre-vocational program for a total of 36 months throughout their life. So that does mean if somebody is in a pre-vocational program, they do really well, they move on to support employment and get a job, and then some point down the road, they lose that job and are looking to gain some skills back to get another job, they'll only be able to go maybe 12 months because they were in it for 24 months before, because it is for their entire lifetime. Oh, I should have moved the slide before that since I said that here. And it is meant to be a bridge between day programs and supported employment services. Again, this can be something where they're going into the community and having some sort of internship, whether it's paid or unpaid. It can also be something where they're doing some sort of internship activity in a program space. But it has to be working towards those skills. And again, that's part of why it's time limited, is because this is not a long-term thing that this internship should lead to a job. The next service is transportation services. These are offered to and from day programs, whether or not that's the pre-vocational program or the ADT. That's the transportation service that can be paid for by the Agency for Persons with Disabilities. It can be provided by the day program or by the residence provider. And the driver is considered a caregiver. I like to point that out because if you use public transportation to get to and from a day program, that transportation driver is considered a driver and not a caregiver. The reason that's important is because should something happen in that transportation mode where that driver was neglectful, they don't have a caregiving, they aren't considered a caregiver and to be held accountable in the same way that a caregiver would. If you use a transportation service that is provided either by the program the individual is going to or by their home resident provider, then they're considered a caregiver and they've had additional training and they're held to that standard of being a caregiver and keeping the individual safe. Funding for transportation really is, it comes through APD. So then this is funded services for residential. There's kind of two major buckets for residential services. Either you have independent living services or you have certified services in what's called a certified setting or a group home setting. This first set is for if you're doing an independent living where it's your apartment or your home and you are having supports come into your home to help you live independently. The first group is a supported living coach. They assist individuals living in their own homes and apartments. They work on budgeting, cooking, transportation, and safety, and promotes maximum independence. They can come in and help an individual who maybe is still living in the family home as they are working towards transitioning into their own home. So if your individual is working on getting their own apartment and they need help from a coach to find that apartment and get into it, you can get supported living coaching to help them leading up to that transition. The next one is personal supports. And this is somebody who is coming into the home to help ensure that that individual is safe, and helping them with activities of daily living, such as bathing, changing, eating, cooking, doing laundry, any of those type of personal support needs. You can get personal support services if the individual is living in a family home. When we typically see it is either that situation or if you're in your own apartment. So those services, personal supports and supported living coaching, can be combined together to help an individual live as independently as possible. And the personal supports can be anything from 2 hours a day. If someone only needs help, maybe in the morning getting ready for their day, or at the end of their day, up to somebody living in with them. But it really is, the biggest part about this is those homes are for that individual's home. It is their apartment or their house, and the supports are coming in to support them, right? The second bucket is called residential habilitation, and this is 24/7 supported licensed group homes. So staff provide supervision, skill building, and assistance with activities of daily living in a group home setting. The difference here is this is not that individual's home. It is usually, it's either owned or rented by the provider. And you probably get to interview and kind of look at the house before you decide to move in or not, but it's their home, not your home. That is your own apartment, and then you're choosing the caregiver that comes in and out. Residential habilitation is also more all-inclusive support versus the independent living version. You get to a little bit more pick and choose what it is that you're needing, but residential rehabilitation is going to give you 24/7 support. And it's also going to have more oversight from the Agency for Persons with Disabilities because it's a licensed group home. Someone from the agency comes in to review that they are doing everything they're supposed to do once a month. There is a third option, and it is funded by APD, although it is less common, and that is for someone to live in an assisted living facility. The assisted living facility can be similar to a group home, but the sizing isn't always exactly the same. There's a little bit more nursing services provided, and you can step up your support needs throughout time without changing where you're living. That's kind of the other big thing for assisted living. Assisted living facilities are also how many individuals who don't qualify for APD funding, and that's typically someone who maybe wasn't diagnosed with their disability before the age of 18, they can get support through living in an assisted living facility. The other big thing with an assisted living facility is all services are rolled into one monthly charge. Like I said, you get nursing services, some case management services, help getting to your appointments. Food is included. Laundry services included, cleaning of your space, things like that. And then someone can also, this is kind of a different ways that you can combine them. So if someone's living in their family home, you can get support, personal supports and supported living coaching. But this, again, the supported living coaching is only while helping transition out into their own home. If you're living in your own home, you can have personal supports, supported living coaching, and then you can also get a companion. So that, remember, that's one of the life skills development programs, but you can combine that to help your independent living be more connected to the community, to have someone help drive you out to do things in the community. For this, you're using usually Social Security or private pay for rent and utilities and personal expenses, and then all of those individuals can be paid for by the waiver. In a group home or licensed living, assisted living facility, you have residential habilitation for services, and then you have Social Security and private pay for room and board. Now, there are also a lot of additional services that APD offers that are less common, but still very much used. The first set is a respite. Respite, APD only pays for under the age of 21 and younger. And that is giving parents a break from being a caregiver. There's also nursing services, occupational therapy, speech therapy, physical therapy, and behavior supports, which again, you can get paid for through your iBudget waiver. Many individuals end up having those therapies paid for through their Medicaid insurance instead of through the waiver, but it is an option if you're having a hard time getting your insurance to pay it. It's something you can look into. You can also get a dietitian paid for through the waiver, consumable medical supplies, durable medical supplies, and specialized mental health therapies, all paid for through the waiver. Again, depending on your budget, because it's all budget dependent. These are just other services that are available out there. All right, that's questions?
I do. I'm sorry I logged in a few minutes late. I know that you talked a little bit about the ICMC program, and Because right now we pay out of pocket for our son to attend the daycare program. So is that something that that program would help with?
It is. So I'm just going to get back to it because there's two different names, and I think it's important that people know
Okay.
the two different names. ICMC is the managed care pilot program that is helping individuals get off that waiver wait list.
Right.
And that is the name that the state is using for the program. Then Florida Community Care is the organization that is providing that funding. It is the insurance group, for another lack of a better word, that is
Okay.
providing it. So if you see ICMC or Florida Community Care, they both are the same thing in that IDD managed care pilot. What I said earlier is it's brand new, so I don't like to give advice about whether it's a good program or not because it's too new for us to know. What I do know is that it will help if you're on the wait list and you want to get off the wait list, it will help you pay for services. What it is doing as a managed care is combining your waiver services and your medical services into one plan with one caseworker. It does also then limit the number of providers that are available for medical. So, if someone has a lot of medical needs and have providers already set up, that might be something you want to consider before making that choice. If not, it is a way that you would fund services instead of waiting on the wait list. Loveland is working on becoming certified, and we should be good to start accepting individuals throughout the organization. I don't know what other organizations in the area are on board with it because it's so brand new. So I don't know if there are people around yet to take residential. But I do know that it is something that will pay for the residential once people are certified through them.
But we don't know how long the pilot will last. Is that?
My understanding is that if they chose not to go to managed care and they chose to end the pilot, that anybody who was on the pilot would roll into Medicaid waiver instead of going back on the wait list.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question, just clarification wise. So am I understanding this correctly that if you're on the wait list, you're on the wait list, but there's no other funding opportunities to help pay for services outside of Social Security or private pay at
If
the
you're
moment?
as of October 1st, this managed care pilot program is going statewide. Anybody who's on that wait list can choose to go onto that managed care and start getting funded for services.
Okay. Okay. And then that'll help pay for more days at Loveland or
Yeah.
more services at Loveland.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it will cover it. Loveland is a provider through it. So yes, it'll cover days. Now, how many days they cover would be between, kind of up to what happens in that case planning that goes on with the case manager.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. So, but they will pay for Loveland Day programs as part of it. Yes.
Now, is it when you say October 1st or October 31st?
October 1st is when it officially goes live. You then have
Thank
to
you.
go through an application process through Florida Community Care, and it's through ACA as well to see if that's, to get onto it. But what we've been told is that anybody statewide who's on the wait list as of October 1st is able to apply.
Are they going to be sending, if you're on the wait list, are they going to be sending out letters or sending emails or anything like that to let us know
My
or
understanding is that they were already sent. So I've heard from a couple of families that got them in the mail over the last couple of weeks. If you haven't gotten one yet, it might just still be on its way. Or you can go to let me just find out what it is. It's ACA. It's called this. You look at you go to ACA and the statewide Medicaid managed care program. And you'll be able to find some information about this pilot program that they're doing.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions about funding, about services that are available? All right, well, thank you all so much for coming. If anyone comes up with questions or didn't want to ask a question live, feel free to reach out to me separately. I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody has.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.